Hey Rivals fans! By now, a lot of you have had the chance to check out the Marvel Rivals competitive system if you wanted to. Some of you may have reached your goal rank by now, but a lot of you may be still working the tiers. If you're still grinding comp games, you might be wondering, what rank can I realistically reach and how many games will it take to get there? Well, I've got some good news. One of my staff scientists analyzed some data from their competitive grind, and it might help answer that. If you find this video helpful or interesting, please like and subscribe. This is a new channel, and it's covering some different topics than we usually do, so the feedback really helps, and I'd love to make more content like this if there's interest. With that said, let's get into it. First off, ranking in Marvel Rivals competitive system may be a little different than what you're used to in other games. There are currently a total of 9 rank tiers split into 23 sub-ranks. Here's the current rank distribution for PC. You might notice that this doesn't look like a normal distribution that you would probably expect. There are no placement matches, which means everybody starts out at the bottom in Bronze 3. This means that all of the players that haven't actually played any competitive matches are inflating the Bronze 3 number. Anyway, not everybody loves it, but that's what we get. Feel free to leave a comment if you like the Rivals competitive system or if there's things that you wish were different. I'm genuinely curious where everybody stands on this. The good news is the system is actually pretty forgiving in the low ranks, and you earn a lot more points for a victory than you lose for a defeat. Through the gold ranks, you can also have access to chrono shields, which will cancel out points from a defeat after losing a certain number of times depending on the rank. This means you can actually rank up pretty far, even with a win rate less than 50%. More on that in a little bit. On the other hand, that means that you might need to play a lot of games to reach your true steady state ranking. I haven't played a lot of competitive Overwatch, but as an example, it wasn't uncommon for many people to place in gold, platinum, or diamond after just 10 games. In Rivals, 10 games will put you in silver at best. With all of that said, if we want to try to figure out how far we can go in the system, we'll have to take a look at how fast we can gain and lose rank points. Using the scientist's competitive history in Season 1, starting from the very bottom, we've plotted out points gained per victory and points lost per defeat as a function of rank. This staff scientist made it to Grandmaster 3 so far, which is not bad, but that's not far enough to see the full picture. So we took some data from a top 500 player to fill in the rest of the range. It's kind of surprising, but wins seem to outweigh losses well into the Grandmaster ranks. We also compared data from someone stuck in bronze for more than 70 games to see if there were any notable effects from hidden matchmaking ratings that were going on in the background. The points gained and the points lost are pretty similar. There may be some small performance-based adjustments at the individual game level, but outside of that, it looks like even if you've been stuck in a rank for a while, you can still turn things around. If we compare the ratio of points gained to points lost at each rank, we can calculate the approximate win percentage required to maintain each rank. This will be helpful in trying to determine which rank you might expect to reach. We're not accounting for chrono shields for this, so you may be able to get away with an even lower win rate in the bronze, silver, and gold tiers. You probably won't have a consistent win rate from bronze to diamond rank or beyond, but we can get a pretty good baseline idea by looking at win rates as you rank up and extrapolating from there. Again, we used our scientist competitive data as an example. If we plot the cumulative win rate against the competitive rank for each of those games, you can see a general trend start to emerge. The win rate starts out pretty high in the low ranks and then gradually decreases as they move up. There's probably going to be ups and downs, as you can see from the data, with both winning and losing streaks. That might just be the nature of solo queuing, I guess. Either way, over the long run, it should converge, and extrapolation of a simple linear fit is probably a good starting point. As I mentioned earlier, your win rate is likely to change as you rank up, so it might be more accurate to compare win rates for just recent games or win rates by rank. If we extrapolate win rates for the last 50 games and win rates per rank, we get some alternative projections. Our scientists could probably end up somewhere in that range if they keep going, and I would expect that the predictions will just keep getting more accurate as they approach their final score. So, based on that, you might be able to estimate your final rank based on win percentages, but how many games will it take for you to get there? Check out this graph estimating the average number of games required per rank based on the win rate. Depending on how much time you spend playing competitive and how high you plan to rank up, you could have a lot of games in your future. Even with the lower ranks, it could take 10, 20, or even 30 plus games to get through each rank. On top of that, each rank will likely take more games than the last, unless you're actively improving as a player as you go. So, at some point, you're going to plateau. If you've spent more than 100 games in the same tier, you may be as high as you can go at your current skill level. With that said, Marvel Rivals competitive systems rewards both skill and volume of playtime. If you can't put in the time, you might never reach your true rank. On the other hand, if you play a lot, you could outrank someone of similar skill who just doesn't have the time to keep up. A full analysis of your own competitive history might be more math than you want to do, but if you want a real quick gauge of where you stand, you can see where your statistics put you on this graph. As long as your win rate is above the maintenance win rate shown, you can probably keep ranking up, at least in the short term, especially during the early stages of each season. This could lead to some pretty wide ranges of skill levels within the same ranks, depending on how much competitive playtime each player has. This is in stark contrast to something like Overwatch, which will more quickly converge on a 50% competitive win rate as it matches players with similar skill levels earlier in process. I would expect in the long term, players will stratify into their different ranks and start to approach 50% win rates again as games within a rank become more evenly matched. Then, the point differential for victories and defeats will keep pushing players up the ranks towards Grandmaster. It'll be interesting to see what happens with ranks in the coming seasons, but it seems like the rank distribution could be kinda top heavy as everyone slowly grinds their way up. Maybe the end of season D ranking will be enough to counter that with most players not having enough playtime to fully flesh out the system's long-term steady state. Anyway, hopefully this has been helpful. Let me know in the comments if we missed anything or if there are any Rivals related questions that you think need to be analyzed. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.